everyone, welcome back to the graph series. In this video, we are going to discuss about few of the graph traversal techniques, and we'll also discuss one of them in very much in-depth detail. So let's just start. So being a non-linear data structure, the biggest question that should arise into our mind is, as it's a non-linear data structure, as graph is a non-linear data structure, how can we read graphs, right? How to read an overall graph, that okay, this is a unique representation of graph, right? So we need some mechanism in order to read graphs, and these mechanisms are also sometimes called as graph traversals, right? So there are basically two graph traversals: depth first search and breadth first search. First of all, we are going to discuss about depth first search in a lot more detail in this video. Okay, so what is depth first search? So before moving forward with this current slide, I would like to show you some problems where you can see some real life applications of depth first search. So if you have ever seen a problem of maze like this, so here you can see you are having a starting point from which you are trying to find the final path to the ending point, right? So here you can see that you are trying all possible path. See, you're trying all possible path. Whenever you are blocked, just like this was blocked, you go back and try some other path. See, again you are blocked, you again go back and try the rest of the path, right? And slowly and steadily what will happen, that one by one you will be exploring all the path. Sometime you will not get the path, and there will be few cases in which you will be able to successfully go to the path. So here you can see that if you'll go up, again no path found, and now it is going to come back here, and finally it is going to have its path. See, the path was found. So this is like one of the most, I would say, common examples of depth first search, right? So what depth first search represents? Depth first search represents that if you want to answer a sub problem, you are going to explore that sub problem properly first, and then you are going to go forward with the rest of the sub problems, right? In order to explain it a bit better, let's just take few motivation problems. Okay, so let's say you are given a graph and you want to calculate all paths between two vertices of the given graph. Maybe you can take this question, or maybe you can take one more question, that given a graph, check whether there is a path, whether there is a corresponding path between any two vertices, right? So these are two problems, right? One says that try to calculate all the possible paths between 2 points. The other one says that check whether there is any one path or not. Both of them have a big gray region, both of them kind of overlaps. And these kind of problems, we will visualize that what is the intuition behind solving this problem and what exactly it leads towards to the depth first search solution. Okay, so let's say this is your given graph. Let's say this is your given graph G, and let's say you want to check that is there any path from 0 to 5, any path from 0 to 5, right? Is there any path from 0 to 5? First of all, let's just think about that. Okay, so this is the vertex 0 and this is the vertex 5, and we want to find a path. This is an undirected graph. For the timing, we have taken an undirected graph. Okay, now just think about it. If you want to start from a particular position and you want to end at a particular position, and you want to check whether there is a path or not, what do? You start the path, like you start your traversal, you start reading it, right, one by one, and see whether you are able to get a path or not. So in order to check whether there is a path from 0 to 5 or not, it's a very big problem. How about if you are able to segregate, or let's say distribute, or let's say divide it into smaller sub problems, right? If I want to go from 0 to 5, I don't know if there is a path from 0 to 5 or not. The only thing that I know is there is a path from 0 to 1 and there is a path from 0 to 3. Why? Because 0 to 1 is a direct edge, and similarly 0 to 3 is also a direct edge. So because there is a direct edge, there is definitely a path from 0 to 1 and 0 to 3, because these are neighbors, these are direct edges, these are directly connected. Okay, now our bigger problem was to find a path from 0 to 5. And we know a very small observation that there is a path from 0 to 1 and 0 to 3. How about if anyhow any cost someone told you that was there any path from 1 to 5, or was there any path from 3 to 5 or not, right? So let's say I'll write a function f of u comma v. This returns whether there is a path from u to v or not, right? Let's say we have this function, and we'll try to inductively see what can be a representation of this function. So from u, let's say u is connected to few of its neighbors, n1, n2, so on and so forth, ni, right? Where n1, n2, so on and so forth, ni are immediate neighbors of u, right? So what you are going to do? You are going to say that if f of n of j to v, right? If this exists for all j that belongs to the range 0 to I, for all j that belongs to the range 0 to I, if this thing holds true, like whatever is the response of this, if this thing holds true, then this is also true. If this thing holds false, then this is also false, right? That you need to check that from any neighbor, or let me represent it in a more demonstrative way. Let's say you will try to check that from the first neighbor, is there a path to v or not? From the second neighbor, is there a path to v or not? From the third neighbor, is there a path to v or not? So on and so forth. From the ith neighbor, is there a path to v or not? And you can do a logical or in between them, right? That if there is a path from any one of them, from any one of the immediate neighbors, if there is a path to v, then definitely we can say that there is a path from u to v, because there is a path from u to that immediate neighbor. Let me repeat myself. If there is a path from 1 to 5, or if there is a path from 3 to 5, then we can say that we know that there is a path from 0 to 1. We can definitely reach from 0 to 5 also via 1, right? You will be able to reach 0 to 5 via 1, because there is some path that exists between 1 to 5. So via 1 you can reach from 0 to 5, because you can go from 0 to 1, right? So this is kind of a recursive relation that we have established here. And this is the main crux of depth first search. So see, what depth first search says that this was our bigger problem, to search a path from 0 to 5. The smaller problems are to search a path from 3 to 5 and to search a path from 1 to 5. Now what depth first search says is that you are going to first go to any one of the sub problems. So let's say 1 to 5 was one such sub problem. You are going to explore that sub problem completely. Then you will come back when you have explored this sub problem completely, like you know the decision that whether there is a path from 1 to 5 or not. If you know this decision, then only you will come back and search for a path from 3 to 5, if there exists a path from 3 to 5 or not. So let me share you one more example. So here you can see there is a tree. See, this tree is first exploring from 1. It first explored the complete branch of 2, right? See here, 1, then 2, then complete branch of 2, then complete branch of 5, and then complete branch of 9. So from 1 there is a sub problem 2. You are going to explore that sub problem completely. No matter that sub problem is going to take you to how many states, it doesn't matter. But you are going to explore that sub problem completely, and then only you will be coming back and then explore the rest of the sub problems. This is the main gist of depth first search. Now you will say that this sounds a lot like recursion. So yes, it is. So in recursion also you are kind of doing a depth first search only. Okay, cool. It is called depth first traversal or depth first search. A lot of people say different names, but this is the overall gist of depth first search. So let's just try to apply depth first search to this graph and see what comes up. Okay, now You are going to start from 0. You are going to start from 0. You are going to go to any one neighbor of 0. Let's say we went to 1. So from 0 we went to 1. Now from 1 you can either go to 2 or you can go to 4 or you can go back to 0 also. Now there is a catch. If from 0 to 1 you came from 0 to 1, then you went from 1 to 0. See, this is a cycle that is getting formed here. It will lead to a cyclic recursion, and this is not something that you wanted, right? Because when we went from 0 to 1, actually we said that give me a path from 1 to 5. If 1 will go from 1 to 0, then 1 is asking 0 to give it a path from 0 to 5. But that was the original question from 0 only. So you are doing a cycle here. In order to avoid a cycle, what we will say is, if we have already visited a node, if this node is already visited, we are not going to visit again. So let's say I am going to use this highlighter. Whenever we will visit the node, I will mark that visited. So see, 0 has been marked visited. Okay. Now from 1, you cannot go to 0, but you can go to 2 or 4. Let's say we went to 2. Let's say we went to 2. And 1 is also now visited. Okay, now from 2, you can go to 1 or you can go to 3. 1 is already visited, you will went to 3. And 2 is also visited. Now from 3, you can either go to 0 or you can go to 2. And see, both of them are already visited. So you will not do anything, and let's say mark this as visited. Now, what will happen? You have explored all the path from 3. You have explored all the path from 2, that is 2 to 3 and 2 to 1 you can never go. But you have not explored all the path from 1. You have not explored all the path from 1. So from 1, you are going to explore the rest of the path. That is, you are going to go to 4. Now, you are going to go to 4. You will mark 4 visited. And then from 4, you are going to go to 5. So you are going to go to 5. And here you can see that as soon as you hit a 5, that means you have found a path from 1 to 5. So what you can say, if you have found a path from 1 to 5, then definitely you have found a path from 0 to 5 as well, because there is a path from 0 to 1. So see, you are going to first explore one complete subproblem, and then only you are going to come back. You first explored everything from 2, then only you came back for 4. This is the gist of depth first search. Now if you will carefully analyze, that we need one very important property, that we need to come back to a state which was not completely visited. Now, this is going to give us another intuition that we should use recursion or something that involves a usage of stack, because recursion uses the call stack, function call stack. Why we need stack? Because we need to one by one, like if 3 was the last visited state, then we don't need 3 anymore. We want a state which was just previously visited to 3, because there may be a case there is something left for 2. If 2 has been completely visited, we need to go just back to 2, to a state where it can be left. Some states from this state can be left to be visited, and then we come back to 1. So we want to get our just previous state. And whenever you get a question of just previous state, then the best thing to get the answer from is the stack. Okay, so this is going to be something that you can do. And here you can see I have written a recursive relation. The only thing that you need to do is, as soon as you visit a node, you will be marking it as visited. Like this, you will be marking it as visited. Now in order to mark it visited, what you can do, you can use a Boolean array or maybe a hash map. Anything that you feel like can be used in order to make the visited mechanism. Right? Okay. Now, if you know this kind of a problem, that is how to get, or if there is a path from U to V or not. How about the second problem? How about the second motivation problem? That given a graph, calculate all path from 2 to the vertex. Let's just see. So let's say this is the given graph. Now you want to get all the path. Let's say I will write a function g from 0 to 5. And what is g of u to v? G of u to v will give you all paths from u to v. Okay. Now if you want to get all paths from u to v, if you want to get all the paths from u to v. How about if somehow, somewhat, you get all the path from the neighbors of u to v, from the neighbors of u to v. Then in front of all of those paths, I can append a 0. Let's say 1 can give you all the path from 1 to 5. So one path can be 1, 4, 5. One path can be 1, 4, 6, 5. This can be the two paths, right? Another path can be 3, 2, 1, 4, 5 and 3, 2, 1, 4, 6, 5. These are the path from 3 to 5. Now in front of all of these paths, I can put a 0. I can put a 0. See, this will be the path from 0 to 5. This can also be the path from 0 to 5. This can be the path from 0 to 5. And this can be the path from 0 to 5. Right. So we have explored all the possible paths. So let's say what you are going to do. Just bring all the possible path from the corresponding neighbors nj to v. What I will do, I will append u in front of them and return to this state, right? Where nj, where j belongs to 0 to I and n of I is neighbor of u, right? So a similar function. It's just that it is going to return all the possible paths, and in front of all of those paths, you can prepend a u, right? So this is again a recursive relation. So this is the gist of depth first search, right? So on and on, if I say what is depth first search, if I want to conclude, I would say my discussion on depth first search is when you are visiting this graph, you can start from any particular node, okay? And then what you can do is you can start exploring one path and you are going to complete that one path. So let's say there is no edge from here. So one path can be starting from 1 and this particular thing. This can be one particular path. And as soon as you have explored the whole path, then you will come back to the original parent and say, hey, do you have any path left? If yes, then you are going to go and then explore the rest of the paths. This is the gist of depth, that you are going to the depth. When we say we are going to the depth, that means we are going to the depth of the subproblem. We are going to explore the complete subproblem at one go and then come back and revisit the rest of the subproblems, right? Okay, so this is more of the recursive, I would say, traversal that you also do in a lot of recursion and tree based problems. As I also showed you, this tree kind of representation, that is from 1 you are going to explore one complete branch. One complete branch is one particular subproblem, right? And then you are going to come back and then visit the rest of the branches, okay? So depth first search has got a wide variety of applications. Depth first search is used in calculating connected components. It is also it is also used in a lot of recursive algorithms. We are going to see a lot of applications of depth first search, but in the next part, we are going to implement both the problems, that is has path or is path from u to v and all the paths from u to v. These both the functions we are going to code. And trust me, the function that I have written here, with inclusion of the visited array, I am going to code as it is. The moment I say that if it is a recursive algorithm, you can definitely take my word. I'm going to code it as it is. I won't change a lot of things. Same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to just code it as it is and not going to change a lot of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part and we will meet in the next part. If you have any doubt, don't forget to drop your doubts in the comment section. We will try to answer as many doubts as possible. If you enjoyed the video, then please drop a like. If you found the content of this channel useful enough, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon so that you will get a notification whenever we are going to put a new video on the channel. So till then, take care guys. Bye-bye and love you all.